Hello, welcome to the video. I'm going to get straight into it. I went to 2 car boots on Sunday. It's still bright, so I was wearing these, and it's bright today. It's Monday now. I've done me wrapping for the weekend and taken down the post office, and now it's time to show you what I got yesterday. So I'll take these off and I'll put them over there. That'll do. Okay, so first, my local car boot, which is quite small compared with Hull, but it can be good. So, first purchase, Lego tub. It's literally full, or as full as you can get without organising it all. And it's all just, well, there's a few standout bits like this boat base and a couple of green bases, and then the rest is just small stuff. There isn't a lot of blocks in it, and the rest of it is it's plates, specialist bits, corners, windows, plastic bits that are shaped. So quite premium stuff. There's no figures in there, and it's in a little tub. So that cost me £4. The guy wanted a fiver, and I asked him to give me some discount, and he did. I was surprised, actually. I was surprised he asked £5 to start with, but I still asked for discounts. Next, floppy disks in a box. You know, recently I sold 60 odd for 30 odd pounds, and actually I bought them with a floppy disk drive and I split it up because I thought people who want floppy disks don't really want a drive, and people who got a drive might want the floppy disks without having to buy another drive. Anyway, there's 30 odd disks there. The box hasn't got a key, there's stickers all over it, it's faded from the colour it should have been, it's now yellow. So maybe 15 to 20 pounds, I don't know, maybe less, maybe only 12, but it cost me £1, so I was taking it, you know what I mean. Oh, by the way, last week it rained Wednesday and Sunday. It was only drizzle on Sunday, but I knew that after such nice weather, people are going to consider drizzle a downpour. So nobody was there. I've talked to stall holders, and they said to me it was a really bad turnout last week, and you know, you did the right thing not turning up. The same place as I bought those discs, I actually bought. He had a lot of electronics and stuff from his father-in-law. Used to be an electrician or something, but he made his own computers up, which is right up my street. And obviously the father-in-law's deceased, and he was like trying to sell this stuff, but it was just so out of date. I was trawling through his boxes for a good 5 minutes and I found one item. So really I should have, you know, just stopped there. And the one item was a brand new XD card in its little bag. It's a Olympus XD 16 megabyte. Unfortunately, I bought it off him for £1. Unfortunately, it's probably only worth £12 delivered, which is what, £10 after delivery, which is £8.50 after fees, which is £7 profit. For the amount of time I spent going through his boxes, I was hoping for more. But swings and roundabouts, isn't it? So I went to a stall just across the way from him, and like I said, swings and roundabouts, and I picked up these 2 nice items. Picked the first one up, and it's got the pusher. These are Edwardian brass candlesticks, obviously, and they should have sort of like a filling in the base to make them heavy and stand easily. That's all been taken out because the filling was made like of a lead metal, sort of a lead tin mix, I think. And very solder type thing, you know what I mean? Big, heavy chunk of it. And there was a hole in the middle for this pusher, and you pushed, and it pushed up the stub of the candle after you'd used it. And obviously they got gummed up a lot and stopped working. But you cleaned them out every so often because, let's face it, you invested in a couple of candlesticks, you needed your money's worth. Well, what happened was, when lead was expensive, people melted the bottoms and the lead went. And so ones where everything works and the base is on are pretty rare. So I said to the guy, you know, it's not working. They're pusher candlesticks, but the pushers aren't working, and so they're not as collectible. So he sold me them for $2.50. I would have been happy to pay $4, and he was asking $5. I asked him for a discount and give me $2.50. So, you know, not bad really. I've seen pairs like that selling for £12 to £15. We'll see what goes on there. On the same stall, there was these, you know I like these, wooden military. There's 3. I've got a bit of paper between them to make sure they don't get damaged. There was 5, and 2 of them had really bad scratching, so I just left them behind. He wanted $1.50 each for these, and I didn't argue, I just give him the money. Royal Air Force, you know, on an oak base, per ardua ad astra, which is the Royal Air Force motto. And the next one was the Royal Air Force 36 Squadron, which is Rajawala Raja Langit, which, as far as I can tell, is Hindi. And it means, if you look in the middle, there's an eagle carrying a bomb. Yeah, I know. But when you look at it, it's a bomb is a torpedo. And the actual Hindi means eagle, king of the skies, which is really good. That is in really good condition, no scratching or anything. Yeah, nice that. £1.50. And the last one, this will go well, I'm sure. Royal Australian Air Force Torpedo Bomber Squadron 458. And it's really heavy because those are plastic and wood. This is metal inside the middle bit. It's like, and it's fitted into it, you know, and then hand painted as well. And they were the Torpedo Bomber Squadron as well, but obviously different air forces. Invenomous et Delimus. I did actually write down what that means. I can't remember what it was. If anybody knows, you could probably find out very easily with Google. I'll have to look later on, and I'll probably flash it up across the top. I might even do that with the first one. Per ardua ad astra. I know what it means. A lot of people will, but across the top sounds good. Lots of graphics. Just put that paper back down. There. Paper between them so they don't scratch. I can still stack them up then. Right. Yeah, those cost $1.50 each. I was very pleased with that. Next thing I saw was carrier bag, which is always intriguing, isn't it, when you find a carrier bag, but it's got stuff in it. And there was a load of PS2 games on top of it. So I thought, oh, PlayStation 2, mate. Excellent. So I said to him, is there a PlayStation there? And he's like, no, it's just the games and the accessories. Okay, what are they? So it's 6 SingStar games and a Tomb Raider. And in the bag, there's a load of wires, as usual. A load of wires. But there's 2 microphones. There's the adapter plug. This is how organised I've been since I did it. SingStar adapter. a load of wires. There's a power adapter for a PlayStation. There's an AV cable for a PlayStation. And there's a PlayStation 2 memory card. So what I can only think is that he sold the PlayStation 2 with the controllers or something to the first person that came along. And they haven't asked for all the bits. They're just like, oh, I'll take that. I'm not bothered. He asked for £5 for the lot. The microphones and 2 of the games will probably go for 15 delivered. So that's like 12, you know, plus delivery. I work on $3.95, so it's like 11 plus delivery as far as I'm concerned. And I thought that was a deal. And then I'll sell 4 of the SingStar games for £10 or so, maybe plus delivery, I don't know. But what was surprising was there was another cable in the bag as well, which is this one. Because what's surprising is that there is already an AV cable in there, but this is a third-party AV cable. Mad Cats. Back in the day, they were quite a big name in third-party gaming. They did controllers for PS2s. They did steering wheels and foot pedals. They did memory cards, you know, all that sort of stuff. Well, this is a SCART cable, but it's got a middle bit. You can change it from normal to RGB. So these HAPs, you can change this to RGB or normal composite video. But it's also got a composite video and audio output there. So you could use it for putting it into your stereo or whatever. But what's weird is this end. Can you see that? This is Xbox, GameCube and N64, and PlayStation 1, 2 and 3 obviously. So say you've got all the consoles, you don't have to keep changing all the wires, you just pull this out the back of it and stick it in the next console along. Well, these are going for 20 quid, even now, all these years later. Mad. So yeah, if you add that in, I'm looking at 45 quid in sales, plus a bit of postage on top. Not bad really, for a £5. I got a little drill. There's 2 things wrong with this. The wires are pulled out the bottom, so you can see the brown, the live and the neutral, which is an easy fix actually. You just open it up and start it there, plug that bit in, you know, screw them into the contacts inside, probably soldered, and that's not a problem. I've got soldering now. And then clamp it with this rubber clamp here. That's not the problem. This is the problem. This is stiff and stuck. Well, there's a little pin thing there, and if you undo that, it comes off, but it never loosens up. The chuck never loosens up. And there's nothing in there that can loosen, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll get some oil on it and take a closer look. But it's got a plug. But that only cost me £1, so you know it's not a big deal really. You know, if I lose £1 on something like that, but gain, I don't know, 40 quid on the next thing along, do I concern myself? No, I don't. Right, the next thing along was actually the same stall. Paid £1 for that. Then I saw this in a little carry bag at the side, obviously. Portable power. And I said to him, how much is it? And he's like, oh, about £2.50. And I'm like, really? Yeah, because it's got all these figures with it. There ain't that many figures actually. And they're pretty mediocre. Battle of the Giants or whatever they called it. Skylanders Giants, isn't it? 4 of those and 3 of the smaller ones. So 7 figures. And I said to him, I'll take it, but I can't pay that sort of money for it. Would you take £1? And he hummed and hawed, but he said, yeah, fine, I'll take £1. So that was £1. Next stall, because I try to buy all the way along. As soon as I can see something that's worth having. I do know a guy who goes around all these stalls, and as he's getting into as the people that's opening the back of the cars, he's like in there and he's saying, have you got any video games? Have you got any consoles? And that's all he says. And I follow him along because a lot of the time he's there before me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind asking people whether they've got video games. I'm sociable enough to do that. But if they say no, and I say, what about electricals or cameras? Because I've got another string to my bow and I'm happy to do different items. You know, diversification is the key. So anyway, I got 2 of these. These are little dehumidifiers for your bedroom or whatever. You can put them in your closet, I suppose. Anyway, you turn them on, the top gets cold and the moisture drips down into the tray. And that's it. One there, one there. I've sold these before for about £18 plus delivery. Anyway, these 2 cost me £3 between them. So, happy with those. And at the same stall, I bought this remote control, 50p, because it says Sony on it. I have no use for it. And you know, I've got loads and loads of remote controls. A few videos back, if you haven't seen it yet, I had a big bag full. Big bag full. And I already had several dozen from a previous sale and I'd sold most of them. I auctioned off a load, but I haven't auctioned any of these yet. I might well auction some, especially the non-branded versions. But branded versions, I'm happy to pick 50p. For a Blu-ray remote control, it's a RMT, because they always say RMT or RM if it's Sony. RMT-B128P. Go and look it up if you're unconvinced about remote controls. If they say Sony on them, they're worth buying. It's as simple as that. If they say Hitachi on them, if they say LG on them, they're literally a dime a dozen. But if you got the right number, you might be able to pair it up with the right thing, or you might be able to sell it to somebody else who can. Anyway, as a Blu-ray remote control, look at the size of it. Must get lost a lot. Okay. I bought some video games. I know I don't normally go on about video games because I think a lot of the time it's just boring to people, but there's several video games purchases. I'm just going to hold them up and say how many. 6 for £4. There's a few decent names in there. None of them are, that's that way up. There you go. None of them are particularly brilliant, but you know, £4. They'll make up bundles. There's Call of Duty's in there. There's a Grand Theft Auto one. So that was £4 for 6. So this 1 terabyte hard drive. Very nice little size. There you go. And I've tested it, it's working fine. And I'm feeling I'm going to keep this. It's got that nice, smooth, sort of, what do you call it? It's like rubberized, but protective cushioning on it. Silicone type cushioning. And a built-in adapter. You just pull it out and stick it in. Great. And that was £25. When I first saw it, I was a bit, shall I buy it or shan't I, you know? And I actually left the stall. And I hadn't noticed the cards at the time because he had them in a little tray at the side. And that was fine, but I hadn't seen those. So I left the stall and I went round some of the stalls. And I'd been round all the stalls once by then. And I normally go around all the stalls at least twice, looking in buckets and things like that. And I found this back on the stall where the guys sold me the brass candlesticks and the wooden plaques. And these are electric condenser mics, vintage. And when I first saw it, I thought, Super Scope, that sounds really vintage, like 1970s, 1980s, you know? And I couldn't find a name on it. And it's like Super Scope. And I'm looking on the front, I'm looking on the back, I can't find the name. Model EC1, there you go. It says EC1 at the top. There's all the specifications. And then I saw the name, Super Scope by Marantz. And it just looks like the underlining to the name Super Scope. Anyway, Marantz is a good name in vintage hi-fi and microphones. So I had a look at it and I just scooted off to the side without leaving the stall really and looked up EC1 microphones. They're mostly sold in the States. It's a little cover. There's an instruction sheet with all the specifications. And yeah, just the microphone without the box in the States is about 25 to 35 pounds worth of dollars. And then there's about 16 or 17 pound delivery if you wanted it delivered here, but most of the time it's just delivered inside the States. They've got a big adapter, a big jack plug. That's for plugging in like vintage hi-fi, but also for plugging into PA systems. You know, like you might plug in a microphone for a guitar amplifier, that sort of size. And then you've got the miniature version that everybody uses these days. These electric condenser microphones, it's a stand, it's got a stand. They were very popular back in the 70s and 80s, and this is one of the best examples of them. There's a wire, I won't get that out now. And then there's an air, there's a foam wind cover that goes on the end like that. Yeah, and these are one of the best electric condenser microphones you can get, really. They unscrew. I know it sounds like it's a bit rough, this. There we go. You unscrew and there's a spring there, and believe it or not, a little battery. Because these are battery powered, the actual microphone's a tiny little thing on the end of this, and the battery goes in like that, and then they screw together like so, without trying to cross-fit it. There we go. And yeah, they're battery powered. There's no switch on them, so you put the battery in, it works until it runs out. Quite sought after, £25 each. I didn't know at the time that was the money. I knew that they were selling in the States. And there's only one sold in the last 6 months in the UK. It's 3 months, is it? And it was about £33. So I thought to myself, well, I wouldn't go for that. I'd go for the same amount as they go in the States. And then if somebody wanted them delivered there, they could have them. And I would go £25 or so each plus delivery. So that would be like £30 here. £25.99 maybe, plus delivery. So that'd be £30 delivery in the UK. And then it would be whatever it was on top to send it to the States, which is where the main market for these is. But £1.50 each. So that's £3 into 50. Be nice, wouldn't it? So having found these, I went back to get this. He also had the SSD drives to plug in a USB 3, but they are limited by the speed of the USB 3 adapter, unlike these hard drives. And it was £40 for a half a terabyte, whereas this is 1 terabyte. So I bought this, £25. The retail on these is about 80, and they have recently sold for that much. But I think I'll keep it because I needed one anyway. And I got them to throw these 2 cards in, which is about £2.50, £3 worth. 32 gig. Like I say, I can plug it into my phone and use it to transfer files, and that one will go and sell for £5. So they're covered as well. In the £25, he threw those in. Right, that's the first car boots. After that lot, I packed up my bag, and I packed up about 3 bags, put them in the car, and went to the second car boot. Right, so next car boot's worth 4 Xbox 360 games. We've got Halo 3, SmackDown vs Raw, Grand Theft Auto 4, and Beowulf the game. They went for £2.50 each. That was a good purchase. Let me put those where I can get at them, or rather, where I no longer need to get at them. I got Monopoly 80th edition, but as you can see, it's a bit grotty. And if you look at the back, it's even more grotty. And the guy said to me, £2? I'm like, really? Yeah. No, I'll have a look inside, just to be on the safe side. So it's got all its little wooden houses. These, because it's an older version, it's got like pretend oldness to it. So it's got like pretend ivory dice, and it's got pretend wooden houses and hotels. I might point out here, the hotels and the houses were never plain coloured. They were green and red from the very beginning. I have a box from the very beginning, and they were coloured wood. But that's what's in there. And then there's 8 pieces of sort of brass coloured movers and the dice. And then there's a board. But I can't tell whether this is meant to be old looking or dirty. It does look like it might have a bit of mould, because the box has got loads of it, as you can see. Yeah. Anyway, all the cards are there. All the money, that's there as well. I've tidied it up. It was just all over the place. They usually are, aren't they? Whenever you buy them, there's like cards and money everywhere. So what I'm thinking of doing is just selling the spares. I do have a lot of, old Monopolies that I keep the spares from, but I've never actually bought an incomplete one of these before. Anyway, that was £2. I give him his money because, quite honestly, it wasn't that bad. Price-wise, I meant, I'd have liked to have paid £1 for it, but such is life. I got these 3 items. They're all Skylanders portals for the Xbox 360. If they don't say Xbox 360 on them, they are like a standard USB, and they work for the Wii, they work for PlayStation 3, they work for PlayStation 4, I suppose, if you wanted to play that sort of thing on. Xbox One. Sorry, not Xbox One. Whatever the others are. The only things that work for Xbox 360 are ones that say Xbox 360 on, and that's what these are. They look exactly the same. They just say Xbox 360 on the back. Anyway, those are quite handy considering they were 50p each. I'm not sure whether they'll sell them as a bundle or separately. Next, I did see one of the guys I normally go to and buy a load of games from when I get the chance. I hadn't seen him in a couple of weeks actually because it rained previous week. It rained Wednesday and Sunday last week, so I didn't get to the car boot at all. However, that was okay because I've still got a load of backlog from buying all this lot at a much accelerated rate this year, and I think I've done the right thing considering that we're going to have a wintry discontent with strikes, recession, fuel price hikes. I think a lot of people are just going to be finding other ways to buy Christmas presents than going to the shops. Hopefully it might increase sales towards winter for second-hand gear. And oh God, my hand's getting tired. That's better. So I bought this lot off a guy, and he said to me, I'm going to have to charge you more than I normally do. And I'm like, really? All right. How much do you, I mean, I've normally paid like 50 pence each for them. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And I said, well, at 50 pence each, that's £8.50. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to have to charge you £15. I'm like, you can't charge me £15 when you normally charge me £8.50. And we had a bit of a to and fro. One of them's like new and sealed, and there's a couple of fairly, I won't say premium, but a little bit more expensive games. There's Batman, Toy Story 3, Space Marines, that's, what do they call that? Warhammer 4000 Space Marines, or is it 30,000, something like that. And then there's Batman Arkham Asylum Game of the Year. Those might fetch a few more quid than these little ones down here. Assassin's Creed, Saints Row, Prince of Persia games, Gears of War. They're all pretty bog standard bundle fodder. So we came to an agreement of £11 on those, which, I mean, I'd have paid £8.50 every day of the week, and £11 is like £2.50 more. But when you're looking at it, it's not that bad. And then I got two other video games off another stall. Wolfenstein the New Order. This has 4 discs. So there's 1 disc there, and then I've put them into these containers after checking them over. 3 more discs, and it should go into a sleeve with like enough space to stack all 4 together, because that's how it's sold. But this is a single one, so I'm assuming that it's been transferred into this box. It's not a big deal, and I'll sell it like that with the 3 separate in a box. Yeah, the box is broken nicely. It's been transferred into a shitty box. Can't think why, because there aren't many games that sell with 4 discs, I'll tell you now. There's that, and that was £1, and this was £1. Grand Theft Auto 3. 2 discs for the PC CD-ROM. It's a PC game, this one. Both discs are mint, and it's got the manual, and it's got a map poster. And the last one I sold in this condition of this game for the PC, I got £12 for. There's loads of people selling them for £6 and £7, but this is in mint condition. When I first got to the second car boot, there was a stall, and I saw it from the car boot when I was driving in, and it had a Sony Mini system, with the like little speakers and a middle piece, and so I parked behind that stall and I went over to see what he had, and he had this, and I mean, obviously from 10 foot away or from 15 foot away it looked fine, But close up, this by the way is a mini disc system. You've got some buttons there that will open this CD-ROM, CD drive, so that's the PC games and getting me the CD-ROMs. 3 buttons to choose which type of system you want. Mini disc there, and tape. Oh, this is heavy as well. The tape system, though, the door's all sort of knackered, and the front's hanging off on this one. Which, you know, not exactly the best condition. And so that's the main bit. And I thought, well, I'll have a look at what the speakers are like. And at least they are the nice front grills that come off the cabinets, exposing nice speakers. This cabinet's pretty good. I think it might have had a little bit of water on the bottom there, but it doesn't seem to have swelled up or damaged at all. The same can't be said for the last one, unfortunately. Front grille looks nice. You can take it off. Speakers look nice. But if you look at the back, it's all been water damaged. And if you look at this, this is meant to be together. This seam has all swelled where the chipboards absorb the water, which has ruined the effect, really. I'll try and sell the speakers as they are anyway. And I thought to myself, the guy said to me he wanted £8. I'm like, no way. No way can I spend £8 on those. Actually, I think he might have started on 10. I'm not sure. But the grills are nice, and the speakers themselves are nice. The cabinet on one of them needs replacing. Nobody was going to do that. But you might sell it for spares, or you might sell it for somebody who doesn't care and just likes the speakers, the front of them. But you're not going to get as much. The system, if it's all working properly, is worth about 140 quid. And I know that because I sold one at the beginning of the year. Exactly the same. It's got a remote, and the remote sells for 20 quid. So I'm going to list this, and I'll probably list the main system for, I don't know, £15 spares or repair, maybe 20, I don't know. I'll start it at 25 and maybe bring it down and accept offers. And then the speakers will probably go for the same, £20 maybe. So I could be looking at £60 for the whole lot for a £5. That's what I offered him, and he hummed and hawed. And in fact, he said, no, the lowest we could go is 8. Anyway, I was looking at the rest of the stall, and he come back and he said, I'll take a £5. So I said, well, I'll have to think about it now. So I went off, and at the end of the stalls, it was still there, because it's broken, all broke, front's broken, nobody else is going to buy it. Well, I mean, unless they wanted to do the same thing as me. So I came back on my way back to the car with a load of stuff, and I bought it and put it into a separate bag that I had, and trudged down to the car with like 15 kilos in one bag and about 10 kilos in the other, and I managed it. And then I went back and did another trip around the car boat, because I never do just the one trip. You always miss things, and the second time round, when you've got all your heavy stuff, you can just have a wander, just have a look in all the boxes, just take it easy, and try and find valuable items that are smaller that you've missed the first time round, which is where I came across this DS, and yeah, it's nice. There you go, all working, with a stylus, with a cover for the Game Boy slot. It's all working, and power supply, and a little container with 3 games. The games are Brain Training. Where is it? Brain Training 42 all-time classics, but the main one is Mario Super Brothers. Super Mario Brothers even. New Super Mario Brothers for Nintendo DS. That's the actual title. And she said to me, oh yeah, the games were £20. I'm like, no, they're not. Brain Training comes with it, and I'm not sure about 42 all-time classics, but it's like a 50p game to me. So maybe £7, maybe £7.80, £8 type of thing, including Mario. There was a time when you could get like £12 for the cart only, but the time's gone. It's more likely to be £6 these days. Anyway, with the power supply, this cost me £12.50. She was going to let me go £12, but then she thought, no, I'll have another 50 pence. Because I offered a 10, you see, with the game. Because she said it was £15 because there was 20 quid's worth of games. And I'm like, no, there isn't. Anyway, we came to a £12.50, and that's all right because I can sell this straight off. It's absolutely, it's lovely, perfect. You know, I bought one a couple of weeks ago, and it had a dodgy hinge, and it hadn't sold. And I've got one which has got a dodgy screen, which I've got to replace. I've got to donor a machine for it, and I'm going to do that shortly. Probably at the same time as doing that PSP screen. It might make a nice little video. I'm not sure. I might do a video of it. Right, what else? Oh, yes. Couple of DVD players. There's a Sony one. There you go. With a remote. This one cost £4. It's £1 more than I normally spend on these. It's a one with a SCART on the back, and it's an SR170. So yeah, no big deal either way. And then there's another one, LG DVD. This is a, where is it? It's called a, oh, it's got a name on it somewhere, a DP542H. And this is HDMI, just HDMI. One thing about this one, with the remote there, is I can turn this into a multi-region or region-free player, so that it's cracked for any, you know, any weird region of DVD that you might buy in, region 1, region 3, region 5, whatever. Most region 2 players, that's Europe, will play region 4s anyway, and they'll play region 0s, which a lot of music videos are released in. And virtually every television now that's flat panel, you could play an NTSC video disc straight into it, and it'll just change over to NTSC without any flickering or messing about. It'll take any input. I know that they say they're PAL, but they'll play anything you like, CCAM, NTSC, anything. It doesn't matter. So yeah, any video in the world, or DVD, sorry, any DVD from anywhere, they'll play on this once I've done the software bit on it. And that can actually increase the value by £15, no problem at all. What else? Yes, this thing. Sorry, I'll get it out. Tommy Tippy bottle warmer. Bog standard really for me. I've sold loads of these. This one's brand new. Cost me £1. It'll sell for, because it's brand new and it's got an instruction booklet, that should probably go for about 12. They're not expensive to start with, but you know. I've sold them for £10.50 for a really scratched up white one in the past, and the same with the black ones. This is grey, but it's brand new and really clean. Well, it's never been used. So yeah, I mean, you know, you put a bit of water in them, you put your bottle in, it warms it, and then it turns off. They're pretty simple, bog standard things, and because of that, they're easy to sell. Somebody wants one, they get one. Somebody wants another one, they get one. There's loads of them. Everybody's having babies. Well, not everybody. Women who have babies want one of those. What else? 3 games from Mario Brothers. Tommy Tippy. PSP game. Daxter. This is another one where I'm going to be making a video. I keep saying to myself, I'll do that video. PSP games. Well, once I've made that video on repairing the screen on that PSP, I'll be able to tell you whether everything else is working on it. And if it is, then I'll do the video on how to repair these. This one's falling apart, the front bit's falling off, the disc's falling out, the case is broken. I've got a load of cases. In fact, I've recently just got some more because I repaired some, sold them, and now I've got some more to do. Yeah, the case is nice, but there's no manual. So this one was, it was going to charge me £1, but then I pointed out how shitty it was. This said 50p, and I'm like, yeah, all right, because I can repair that and then it'll sell. I don't know what it goes for. I have no idea, but for 50p I won't leaving it behind. Oh yeah, you've already found out that this, one of my major purchases today, or yesterday rather, was going to be equipment rather than selling. I mean, I could sell it, I could make a profit, but then I would just have to invest that profit into another one. So I might as well keep it. And this is equipment as well. A couple of weeks ago I bought one of those like LED panels, but it was more of a dome straight structure, which I said to you, I'll probably put it above where I've got my lighting for my taking photographs. Well, currently I've still got the old style where it's 2 CFL, is it? Compact fluorescent bulbs inside umbrella shape with a sort of screen on the front to diffuse it. Well, they're great, but they take up a load of space. And I was thinking about investing in new flat panel lighting, but I don't need to now because I bought these. I know it sounds a bit weird, but I'll show you what I mean. These are what I've got in my garage now, but they're more powerful than those. The ones I've got in my garage are 12 watts. I've got 5 instead of strip lighting. These are built into the roof and they're pretty good, pretty bright, but they're 12 watt. Well, this one's 16 watts and they're really flat. It's got a power supply as well. Yeah. And you plug that into the power supply gets wired into the mains, and you install them in your roof. But I thought to myself, if I put a wire, not a wire, probably a wooden frame round this, and then mount that on the tripod instead of the big things. It's just like one of those LED lighting panels, but it costs £3. £3 for this one and £3 for this one. So yeah, so I can upgrade my eBay lighting booth and take out a lot of space around it with the big tripods and the big sort of parasol type lighting procedures and just have one of these either side, because it's got a diffusion on it. It's built into the diffusion. It's built in. The LEDs are around the edge on these, and what happens is they hit reflectors inside the back, and it reflects back and forward all the way across, and then the diffuser pushes out a really nice flat diffuse light with two, one from each side in the same way as the other panels. I should get nice lighting, a lot less wattage, because the other ones are 38 watts a side. Because it's CFL, you don't get as much wattage. This will be 32 watts in total, but because they're smaller, much smaller, I'll be able to take back quite a lot of space, and they'll be easier to maneuver about as well. So it's just a matter of putting a wood frame around these, you know, like a picture frame type wood frame, and then a U-shaped metal strut to hold it onto the. In fact, I've already got those because I've previously had the strip lighting frames, and this will fit right into that U-shaped strut. And then I'll be able to mount it straight onto a tripod. No problem at all. They're light, well, they're not light, but they're a lot lighter than the big parasol jobs. And yeah, so I was pleased with those. But that was the rest of my money. What I spent was £107 on all of this, including the stuff from the first car boost. So, what to say about this? I'm not going to count these lights in as purchases to resell, because it's equipment. And I'm not going to count this as purchases to resell. But I'm going to resell these anyway. So I got these given as a freebie when I bought that. So I'm counting these as discount, but I'm going to resell these. So I'm thinking this would have been £2.50 cheaper without those. So I'm counting £2.50 of this purchase as purchases to resell. See what I mean? So that was £22.50 without those. And these were £3 each, £6. So £28.50 off me 107. Right? Because I spent 107. £28.50 off that is, what is it? £78.50. I'll do the maths again, and then I'll work out what I'm going to purchase and do some maths down here of what I expect to get profit-wise. I'm not sure it's going to be brilliant this week. There are some nice things that are like those microphones, the hi-fi, possibly could make me good money, and possibly might make me, well, I'm not going to make a loss. I might make £12 after fees, or I might make £70. It's hard to say with that. I'll probably work on optimistic version, yeah, and then you can make your own value judgment on that hi-fi. And obviously the video games, I haven't spent a great deal on them, and they could add up to a lot when they sell, but they could take an age to sell, so it's hard to work out real margins on those. The DVD players, they're pretty standard. I know what they sell for, I know what I've bought them for. These microphones, I'm happy to let them sit until I get the right money for those, so there's not going to be real big discounts given out on those. Brass candlesticks, they're a pretty standard, safe bet. Same with those wooden shields. People like their RAF stuff, their army stuff, the military, they're much more likely to sell the day that I list them than anything else, I think. Maybe the DVD player, especially the one that's been made region free. Yeah, not a bad day's purchases, I think. Right, what am I doing now? Finishing the video. Thank you very much for watching, if you are still watching. A lot of people aren't at this point. If you have got to the end, thank you for the effort. I appreciate it massively. I've got 280 subscribers at the moment, and I know lots of people who are watching it, even now, won't be subscribers. So think about subscribing if you enjoyed it. If you want to go back and watch some of my other videos, it would be easier if you were subscribed and you had something to refer to. But apart from that, I'm going to put a video either side right now. Probably I should be in the middle for that. A video either side for you to click on, hopefully, at the end of the video. There you go. Thank you very much for watching.